Good afternoon, everybody. This is Ed Avis speaking. I'm the Executive Director of the National Costumers Association, and I'd like to welcome you to our webinar this afternoon titled Best Practices, Generating Online Sales for Costume Shops. I want to mention that we welcome interaction by the attendees while we are in the webinar. So if you have questions, by all means, ask questions using the Q&A tab on your screen, and we will answer those questions as they come up. So go ahead and ask whenever you have them, even if it was from something earlier in the presentation. Also, I wanted to mention that this event is being recorded. So if you want to watch later, you're welcome to do that. We will post it on the NCA website later on today, or actually more likely tomorrow, so that you can view it there whenever you want or share it with other employees. Okay, today we welcome Kim Baker and Joe Takosik. They are from Smart Solutions and Party and Halloween Retailer magazine, and they have a lot of experience in this area. And I'm not going to introduce them any further because they can handle that themselves. So with that, Kim, if you are ready, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks so much, Ed. Joe and I are really excited to be here to talk about some of our favorite things. As Ed said, we're with Smart Solutions. Smart Solutions is part of the company that owns Party and Halloween Retailer. So we are very familiar with costume shops and some of your unique needs. We recognize the need among many of our readers that they were needing help with marketing, whether it's social media or even just content creation or website management. So we created Smart Solutions. We have a team of designers, of content people, writers. We do everything from telling you and consulting with you to help you decide what you need to do with marketing, all the way through actually managing it for you. So we do full-scale social media management, website management, and anything kind of in between there. So that's us in a nutshell. Just about me, I am the Director of Marketing Services. I've been in this field for going on 17 years. I actually used to be the publisher of Party and Halloween magazine, Party and Halloween Retailer, as well as some of our other retail magazines at Great American Media Services. So I love data, I love stories, and that's kind of what led us to create Smart Solutions, is that we know that telling retailer stories is what's going to get people to interact with you and want to do business with you. So that's a little bit about me. Joe, your turn.
All right, well, like they said, my name's Joe Takosik. I am a content marketing specialist with Smart Solutions. I've got nearly a decade of experience in journalism and social media marketing. I've worked with some pretty large brands in my time in helping them achieve some of their digital goals. And I also have a background in journalism, so I understand some creative writing and copy and things like that. So I joined Great American and Smart Solutions actually just about a year ago, and have been working side by side with Kim to provide these solutions to help retailers and businesses achieve their full digital potential. So with that said, we will kind of dive in. So a well-organized digital strategy. Your digital footprint, your digital strategy can really be the difference between being a successful business and being a struggling operation. There are a lot of businesses out there that don't understand the importance of a digital strategy. And your digital strategy can best be explained as being literally anything online: your website, your social media, your email marketing, anything. And an organized strategy can benefit your business in a lot of different ways. But there are mainly 4 key ways that it can help. It can help you make informed purchasing decisions based on customer behavior data. So you can look at where they're browsing, what they're doing, what products they're purchasing, and it helps you have better insight into what you need to be keeping in stock. It can act as an outlet for customers to seek support and ask questions if they have questions about shipping or a specific product or inventory. It also gives you an additional, additional outlets to promote new products. So people, as they might not be coming into your store, especially right now, it gives you an outlet to promote these things that you're bringing in stock, whether it be new items or restocking older items that have been favorites. And it also allows you to reach new audiences that otherwise may be unreachable. People who might not know that you're around, people who might have been new to the area and not know that you're there. It gives you social media, your website, email marketing. It gives you these avenues to reach people that otherwise regular print and traditional advertising or no advertising at all, you just wouldn't see that same reach. So we will start with a poll. Ed's going to put a poll up here. And we're just going to take a quick pulse here and see, do you have a website for your store? You can go ahead and answer the poll on your screen now. Just give it a couple more seconds here, and then we will go ahead and have Ed put the results up on the screen. All right, so it's 50% of you do have a website with a store. We've got the majority of you have a website, but you don't have a store. And then there are 10% of you just have a Facebook page. So the good news is nobody said no online presence. And that is the worst of the four answers. The bad news is 50% of you have websites, have Facebook pages, but don't necessarily have ways for your customers to reach you and shop you online. Which right now, especially in the middle of this global pandemic, can be as important as ever. So let's dive into a little bit about your website. A properly designed and optimized website is potentially your business's biggest, or without one, missed opportunity. And what we mean by that is by not having, just having a website isn't enough, right? You need to have a website that's designed and is aesthetically pleasing to the user, as well as optimized in the right ways. Or you could be missing on opportunities both for sales and getting signups for your email list, social media followers, things like that. So there are a lot of things that a properly optimized website includes, but some of the most important are accurate information, making sure your hours, your location, your links, your product offerings, everything is accurate and up to date. If you change hours, one of the first things you should do is make sure that your store is updated or your website is updated. By not having accurate information, you can create frustration with customers if they think you're open till 9 and you're actually only open till 8. If you say you have this in stock and they get there and you don't, things like that. So making sure that you're updated and everything is accurate is very important. Making sure it's optimized for mobile. 79% of e-commerce traffic in 2019 was mobile. So a very large chunk, 4/5 of all e-commerce traffic and purchases online were done from a mobile phone or a tablet. So making sure that your website is optimized for mobile may be more important than making sure it's optimized for desktop. And those e-commerce numbers are up over 222% over the last decade. So it's constantly growing, the importance of having a mobilely optimized website. Search engine optimization, or SEO. SEO is incredibly critical. 93% of all online experiences actually start with search engines. Google, Bing, Yahoo, people looking for terms or products. And 75% of those searches never actually scroll to the second page. So SEO, or search engine optimization, is making sure that your website is optimized and showing up within Google rankings and showing up on that first page when people are searching for relevant terms, which in your guys' case might be costumes near me, Halloween costumes near me, things like that. Showing up on that first page for relevant industry terms is critical. And then constantly keeping your site updated outside of the accurate information, such as hours and links. So some of this content includes blogs, it includes product updates, and it also includes announcements and latest news. This type of content not only helps your SEO, but it also helps your customers find information about you or about products or about locations that they might not otherwise see. So making sure that you're constantly updating the content of your site, not just the information and the design, it plays a vital role in making sure that you're able to reach the customers that you're looking to reach. Email marketing. So email marketing is nearly unmatched when it comes to being able to reach your current customers and try to encourage repeat purchase behavior. Over 99% of people open their email at least once a day. So by using email marketing, 80% of these people have made additional purchases as a result of email marketing follow-ups. And when we say email marketing, it's having a list of people both who have purchased from you, who have opted in on your website, who may have signed up at a guest book in your location, anybody that has come in contact with your business or chosen to sign up for your email marketing list. Some of the benefits of email marketing, there are no pesky algorithms. So as we'll dive into later, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they all have algorithms that sort how their news feeds are presented to users. Most email platforms don't have that. So when you send somebody an email, it's going to go straight into their inbox and they are going to see it and more than likely are going to open it. So you don't have to deal with any of these pesky algorithms. And then the ability to share a wide variety of content. You can find many different reasons to promote or to send emails, whether it be certain promotions, exclusive deals you're running, announcements, some of the same stuff that we talked about with your website, showing what's in stock. There's a lot of different ways you can utilize email marketing, and it's a great way to get directly in touch with your customer. But perhaps the biggest piece of your retailer's digital strategy is an online store. By utilizing inventory management systems and point of sale systems like Shopify, for example, your online store not only allows you to easily integrate into an existing website, but it also allows you to connect to most of your email marketing platforms. So you can send things like abandoned cart emails and encourage purchase behavior. And you can also integrate with social media for platform-based selling, which we'll touch on here in a few minutes. But most importantly, especially right now, it allows you to sell to your customers digitally without needing an in-store experience. It allows them to purchase from you, it allows them to browse your products, and it allows them to receive it in their house without having to go to a physical location, which, as we all know right now, is incredibly important. So the final piece of a good digital strategy is social media. And before we dive into social media, I just want to get a pulse for what types of platforms you guys are using. So Ed is going to throw another poll up on the screen. This is a multiple choice poll. If you would like, go ahead and just answer what social media platforms you are currently using.
Hey, Joe, while they're doing the form, a question came in that says,
Yeah.
For the latest news on your website, do you recommend Facebook or Twitter plugin to use for that?
For the latest news, I would personally try to post it yourself, because sometimes using plugins doesn't translate very well to the social platform and it looks a little spammy. So I would try to stay away from platforms and actually take that news, take that link and go to the individual platforms and post that yourself, because that allows you to make sure the text is what it needs to be. And we're going to dive into some of the best practices for social here shortly. But it allows you to make sure the text is what it needs to be. It allows you to remove that link and it allows you to preview it and make sure it's exactly what it needs to be. So if possible, plugins aren't the worst thing in the world, but I would try to stay away from them and post it organically, as I think it'll look better and you'll have some better engagement from it. All right, if you've had a chance to answer, I think, Ed, we can go ahead and show the results here. All right, so 100% on Facebook. That's exactly what I figured it would be. And the second biggest is Instagram. That is perfect. That is going to be a large amount of what we're going to focus on, because those are two of the most beneficial for business owners. So Twitter, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. For this specific industry, Pinterest is probably third, but really Facebook and Instagram are king when it comes to what we're about to talk about here in the next few slides. So we'll go ahead and pull those down and we will move through here. So especially right now, more than ever, being able to communicate with your customers via social media is absolutely vital. Most people have more time than they've ever had on their hands. They're scrolling on their smartphones or their iPads or their laptops. And obviously, we're all home right now more than we normally would be. So, being able to reach potential customers and even your current customers where they already are is absolutely vital. 90%, in a recent study done by Sprout Social, which is a very large social media company, 90% of people buy from brands that they follow on social media. So there's a large contingency of people who follow the brands they like, and that encourages a repeated purchase behavior. So being able to connect with them is absolutely vital. So there are a big three. I just talked about it. The big three, right? When it comes to social media, there's obviously Pinterest, LinkedIn. Now there's TikTok. But the big three when it comes to businesses is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, with really an emphasis on the first two being Facebook and Instagram. All three of them have different benefits. All three of them obviously have different algorithms, and all three of them have very different aesthetics. For Facebook, the advertising options are really what sets Facebook apart from the other two. They have a large offering, a large catalog of different advertising options, different size budgets, different ways to set demographics, and we're going to dive into that a little bit more. They also offer rich link sharing, which means when you post a link, it provides a preview with an image and a description. And then it's also got the largest potential impressions. So when done right, Facebook is going to give you the opportunity to reach the most people. Instagram is obviously, for anybody who's used Instagram, it's very visually based. It's not like Facebook where it's very wordy and it has links and has a ton of advertising. It's very visual based, pictures and images only. They also do not allow links in the post. Some people find this to be a nuisance. It can actually, if you use it correctly, be it can be a strength. It can help you. By not posting links, it places more of an emphasis on the text that's actually being shared. So that copy is highlighted, and it's a little bit more important. And it's also got the largest potential for engagement in terms of with the way Instagram's algorithm is based. If you post and you're getting more likes and more comments, you're going to move up in the algorithm. Twitter isn't very engagement oriented. So Twitter isn't as focused on images and videos as Facebook and Instagram are. Twitter is all about engaging with people. And Twitter's a great tool. It's not as good of a marketing tool for products or promotions. It's a much better tool for support and interaction. So it's a great place for your customers to reach out to you and ask questions if they had questions or if they have a support issue or anything like that. And Twitter is obviously by nature very conversational, whereas Facebook and Instagram are more promotional from a business's standpoint.
Hey, Joe, we had another question come in about the use of TikTok for marketing purposes. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, so TikTok is obviously the hottest new thing. The demographic of TikTok is very young. So if you feel your key demographic is going to be really anywhere in that 16 to 26 range, the use of TikTok can be very beneficial. It is still not going to be as beneficial as Facebook and Instagram. And when it comes to social media, instead of doing a lot of things okay, it's better to do a couple of things really well. So my advice would be to find the social media channels that work for you and focus on those two and become really good at those one or two. And especially in a business's case, Facebook and Instagram are going to convert a lot more. TikTok can be an asset. There aren't a whole lot of advertising options right now with TikTok, so it's all going to be organic. And there's not a whole lot of sales opportunities, so there's not going to be a whole lot of conversion. And as a side note, there are still some security concerns about TikTok. The US government has actually banned any of their employees or personnel or any armed forces personnel from using TikTok. So there's still some security concerns with that. So I would personally focus on Facebook and Instagram if you can. We're going to have Ed throw another multiple choice question on the screen. We just want to know what your biggest challenge is when it comes to social media. And this is another multiple choice question. So there is no wrong answer. Feel free to select several. just a couple more seconds here and we'll go ahead and have Ed put those answers on the screen. All right. So most of you said time and strategy and knowledge, which is about what I figured. A lot of the people that struggle with social media don't struggle with it because of money, because it's very easy to do social media well. But they struggle with the time and the know-how, which is every small business owner would prefer to have more time. You know, they would prefer there be 26 hours in a day. Money is obviously can be a constraint when you're going through paid advertising or when you're outsourcing to a company like us to use or to take care of these services for you. But definitely time and strategy and knowledge, strategy and knowledge kind of go hand in hand. It's kind of what we see the most in terms of struggles of small business owners. So we're going to dive in a little bit more into the actual how-to of social media. So these are just some best practices, some things that you can implement right away that will help your social media profiles. The first is that your social profiles should be completely streamlined. And what I mean by streamlined is, let's say I'm using our social media accounts, for example. You have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have Instagram. You'll see all of our social media profile images are the same. The social media profiles that have cover photos in Facebook and Twitter are the same. Our bio is largely the same. Our description is largely the same. That is not an accident. That is on purpose. And obviously, usernames when you can. Not all usernames are going to be available across all platforms. If that's the case, try to get one that's close to it. But there are a lot of different reasons that your social media profiles should be streamlined. First off, it's recognizable to your customers. Somebody who sees that SS logo on Instagram and somebody who sees it on Facebook is going to immediately make that correlation in their head that it's the same company. If you've got profiles that have different profile pictures, it can get very confusing and they start to wonder, is this the Facebook profile that's connected to this Twitter account? It also helps show consistency and it helps shows a professional look for your business. And it also helps you establish a brand identity. It helps people see that SS in 3 different places and say, okay, this company, that SS is affiliated with that company. It helps you have that kind of consistency across the board. So there are a lot of different reasons to have streamlined profiles, but it's absolutely vital that you do because it can be really confusing for your customers if you don't. So some of the social algorithms, these are where a lot of people have the biggest questions because Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they change their algorithms almost constantly. If you're not familiar with what the algorithms are how each platform sorts the timeline organically. So when you log on to your Facebook app on your phone, the news feed, the posts that you see, how those are sorted, it's not, they used to be chronologically, it's not anymore. It's sorted by an algorithm that is solely based on things that you've liked and things that you've interacted with. So Facebook and Instagram have made changes recently to their algorithm, and they've actually aligned their algorithms very similarly on both platforms. If you're not familiar with, Facebook actually owns Instagram. So they have just changed their algorithms to both place an importance on organic content, organic and engaging. So what they mean by organic and engaging is a picture that is not promotional. And I've got some examples here in a second, but that is not promotional. That is just, it's a picture of somebody using your product with a short, witty caption. That's going to get people liking and commenting and sharing. And in the large scheme of things with the algorithm, that's going to then make the algorithm see, oh, people are enjoying this content, and it's going to slowly move it up the algorithm. Visual, good, high quality pictures, high quality videos, trying to use as little text in these images and videos as you can, and non-promotional. Again, that's, seeing people using your product or sharing how, different ways people can use your products. That's a great example of non-promotional. Twitter differs from these two. Twitter is engagement first. They're somewhat visual, but they don't place as high of an emphasis on visual content as the other two. Twitter's algorithm is more interested in how many retweets, how many likes, how many people are responding, how many people are following you. It's all engagement based. And it's all based on driving the conversation. So If something starts to go more viral, starts to really expand, that's when you're going to start to see tweets show up more in timelines. Twitter is much harder to achieve. You have to really be focused on the virality of something, and that can be really difficult. But Instagram and Facebook have, although their platforms are very different, what they value in their algorithms are very similar. So best content practices. So before we dive into some of the examples that I have, we're going to talk about some of the best practices for your content. And this goes essentially across all platforms. Each social channel has different best practices, but some of the larger principles apply all the way across. You should always try to include an image, a video, or a link. Video sees a much higher engagement rate. It sees about a 48% higher engagement rate than image. However, posts that include images and video but don't include, or posts that don't include images and video and just have text, they see about 20 times less impressions, engagement, any sort of likes, comments, things like that. So it's vital that you always try to include an image or a video, and where applicable in Facebook and Facebook and Twitter, that's where you could share links. You should always try to keep your text copy to 2 or 3 sentences at the most. You go beyond that, you're going to start to lose people as they're reading through your post. So when you're crafting out social posts, really look at what you're trying to get across. Look at the point you're trying to convey, and try to boil it down to 2 sentences if you can, 3 at the most. There are exceptions that apply if you're going to, really in depth about a charitable cause or a new product line or things like that. Obviously, those are not going to be as easily condensed into 2 or 3 sentences. But for your generic everyday social posts, trying to keep that to 2 to 3 sentences is vital. And it also is going to help without the algorithms as well that we just talked about. Instagram, never include links in the text. The only exception to that would be if you have a shortened link that is very easy for people to type in. By including links in the text, it makes it look really bulky. Instagram's algorithm views it differently, and people can't click that link anyway. So if it's a very long link that I'm probably not going to read and type out to myself, you're only hurting the potential of your post. Twitter by nature limits your text, because in Twitter you can only have 240 characters. And if you're going to include a link, that link counts towards the 240. I believe it's 21 characters now. So if you're going to include a link, it's going to count towards that 240. Across all social platforms, you should be trying to engage with as many different brands and pages and as many of your followers as possible. If one of your followers comments, comment back, or at least like the comment. If they have a complaint, try to get to it as quickly as you can. If you're sharing a collaboration with a different brand, make sure you're tagging that brand's page in the post. All of those things are going to not only help in the eyes of the algorithm, but it's also going to help you garner engagement because you're creating positive interactions with your followers. There's actually a recent study, 71% of consumers would recommend a brand solely based on a positive interaction socially with them. So not even necessarily purchasing from that brand, but if they had a positive interaction on social media, they would recommend that brand to somebody else. So engaging with them as often as you can and encouraging those positive social interactions is key. Across all platforms, keep your hashtags to a minimum. At the very most, use 2 or 3. Instagram and Facebook doesn't really use hashtags a ton. Instagram has actually decreased the importance of hashtags and is now starting to penalize companies and not just companies, profiles in general, that use an overabundance of hashtags. Gone are the days of trying to include 30 hashtags in a comment to try to get on a Discover page. So try to use at the very most 2 to 3 per post, and try not to go out of your way to use hashtags. Try to find keywords that are in your 2 to 3 sentences and hashtag those. You're going to see better results if you do it that way. And a rule of thumb for frequency, try to post 1 to 2 times a day. That obviously is going to vary by the type of content being shared. If you've got announcements and you've got 3 of them in a day, that obviously is going to differ. But with Facebook, especially, if you post more than twice in a day, it's going to group all of those posts at the top of a newsfeed. So you're not going to get individual impressions for all three. You're going to get one impression for all three. So try to keep your posting to at a max 1 to 2 times a day. And that is pretty much a rule of thumb across all of your social channels. So here are a couple examples that we had talked about, that I talked about earlier, of these are organic promotional posts. So these are not advertisements. These are posts that social media managers or business managers have gone in and just posted on the generic page. On the far left, you'll see the Facebook news feed. That is just a generic, that is Lush Cosmetics. They shared a link to a story about some of their products. You can see they removed the link from the text itself. They tagged Forbes, and they kept their text to actually one sentence. So that's in the news feed. Also in the news feed where it says Facebook Organic, it's another post from Lush. You'll see there's no link, there's no tagging. They just have one simple sentence and an image, and they're asking a question. They're provoking the audience to respond. That is a good example of organic, engaging content that's non-promotional. On Instagram, you'll see Starbucks. Starbucks did a really good job of having 2 sentences with an emoji, nothing to click, no call to action, nothing like that. And you'll also see underneath how quickly they responded to a follower comment. Their image is properly sized. They've kept their text down to 2 sentences, and they're not being too wordy. They're not overcomplicating it. And then you'll see Twitter. One of the best follows, if you don't already follow them on Twitter, is Taco Bell. They're very, very good at what they do. And you'll see here, they've got a link. It's not in the text. They just have the rich link. They've got 1 sentence, and they've got a couple of emojis to keep it light, keep it fun. These are all very good examples of things that you can do on social media to help garner engagement. And again, I believe Ed said this will be available for download afterwards. So you'll be able to kind of analyze these a little bit more in depth after following the presentation. However, all of your social media posts, you know, we've talked about engagement, we've talked about likes, we've talked about impressions, but the sole purpose of everything that your social media is striving to accomplish should be entirely focused around one thing, and it's creating an experience for your customers. Like that post that I just showed where there was no click through, there was no product promotion, it was just an image and asking customers a question. That's creating an experience around your brand. They're seeing what they can take the product and do with it. And by creating that experience, you're again creating those positive social interactions. One of the biggest misconceptions with social among business owners is that they believe social media is used for sales. And while ultimately that is the end goal, that is not the only goal. You want to try to focus on creating this experience. And by creating this experience, you're kind of creating that brand identity, and you're creating those positive social interactions. All right, so now we're going to dive into advertising. Another great benefit to utilize with social media platforms, specifically Facebook and Instagram, are their paid advertising opportunities. Facebook and Instagram offer opportunities for a wide variety of paid ad placements around their platforms. And I've got some examples in the next slide. Some of the benefits of social advertising are you can geo-target specific regions and audiences based on specifically on their interests, where they're located. You can narrow it down to as close as a mile from a certain location. So you can really get very specific with your targeting. They have multiple different types of creative options and placements, as I previously said, and you'll see that on the next slide. And they've got a pretty much unlimited range of budgeting options. So what you pay is what you will get. You know, if you want to run a $10 ad, you can run a $10 ad. And depending on how it's placed, there's a lot that goes into properly placing and proper creative, but you will get in return what you pay for. A properly placed advertisement on Facebook, generally the rule of thumb, $1 can reach about to 100 to 150 people. But one of the benefits of advertising on these social platforms is you can choose your own budget. You can select whatever budget you would like it to be. So here's some of the examples of all of these various ad placements. On the far left, you'll see an ad for Audi. And you'll also notice these are all mobile. These are all completely mobile, and there's a reason for that. Facebook and Instagram actually reported in 2019 that 96% of the ad revenue was generated from mobile devices. So there is little to no benefit in advertising, like making creatives for a desktop platform. Nearly 100% are coming from mobile conversions. So you'll see, notice all of these ads are mobily optimized. The far left, you'll see an advertisement for Audi. That is just a generic newsfeed ad. They've got a link, they've got a call to action, and they've got a couple lines of text. With advertisements, the same parameters and best practices apply here. A couple of sentences, images without text, and trying high quality images, videos, things like that. The second one, you'll see a Facebook collection ad. So this is probably more pertinent to retailers. You can actually have an ad that has one main page and then a bunch of products underneath, which you'll see underneath there, the Adidas ad. That is called a collection ad. The middle ad is a Facebook Messenger placement. So it pops up when somebody's asking questions about certain products. In this case, it's a shoe, it's a Reebok shoe. Advertisements pop up within the Messenger platform. The great thing about Facebook owning Instagram as well is if you run it on Facebook, it also runs on Instagram if you choose to do that. So on the right there, you'll see Instagram stories, an ad from Lacoste. You'll see the shop now swipe up link. That is an ad that they have running on both Facebook and Instagram. And then the peach truck on the far right side, you'll see that's an in Instagram feed ad. It's an in feed ad similar to the first Facebook ad. So that is what somebody scrolling on their phone would see in their timeline with a shop now link. So these are just some of the different advertising creatives that are around. We've got one final poll here we'll have Ed put up on the screen. And over the last few months, Facebook and Instagram have released some new selling tools. So this includes product tagging, stores, things like that. So we just wanted to see if any of you have utilized any of these Facebook or Instagram selling tools. Just give it a couple more seconds here, and then we'll go ahead and pull the results. Okay, so the majority of you said no, and that's not necessarily a surprise because, especially on Instagram, some of these are very recent, within the last couple of months. So we will go ahead and close out those results, and we will kind of go over some of these new tools. So the first step in setting up these tools is you have to have a digital storefront. If you don't have a digital storefront, that will be step one. Step two, if you set up your digital storefront, you're more than likely going to be using a platform like Shopify or WooCommerce or something very similar. These platforms very easily integrate with Facebook. And this allows your Facebook and Instagram pages to do a handful of things. It allows you to promote your products, descriptions, and pricings directly in the social posts themselves. It allows customers to actually purchase products directly from the platform. They can actually purchase products from Facebook, from your Facebook page. Now, do note this, you would have to have a payment processing system like Stripe or Square associated with your store. But if you have an online store, you're going to have to probably have that payment processing platform anyway. But it also helps your customers visualize your storefront without ever having to leave the platform. So these new tools allow your customers to actually shop your store, shop your products, look at your inventory without ever leaving Facebook, which when you're using a mobile device is incredibly invaluable because you will not lose their focus along the way. Once your store is connected via Facebook, you can also Instagram the store with some of Instagram's new tools. And these new tools, some of which were just released last month actually, allow you to tag products and images and videos. So in the feed, while they're scrolling, if they tap on the image, they can click on the product and go right to a purchase page. Like Facebook, it allows you to offer the product purchase information in Instagram stories, offer gift cards. This is actually a very new one. It was just released less than a month ago to help with the COVID-19 pandemic. You can actually offer gift card purchasing options directly on Instagram. So you can actually click on an Instagram story and buy the follower can buy a gift card to your location. And then it also allows you to actually create Instagram product ads directly in the platform without having to go into the Facebook ads platform, which just makes it a lot simpler. So there are a lot of benefits to these new tools. And here are some of the examples that you can see utilizing these new tools. On the far left, you'll see a Facebook shop. This is Best Self Co., which is like a motivational company. They actually have a shop tab on the left-hand side of their Facebook, and you can see their products and the prices listed underneath. I could actually go to those products and purchase that right there from Facebook because they've integrated their store. And you see up at the top, they have their featured products. That carousel allows you to customize it so you can push whatever products you want to the top of the page. In the middle, you'll see the Instagram collection. This is an ad from Hashley Home Store. In that, it's similar to a Facebook collection ad, but this one, again, they can actually purchase directly from the platform. The Instagram product tagging, that's a newer feature. It's been around for a few months, but you'll see if they tap on the page, that's what they would see on the image. So you can see trench coat, $150, leather boots, $75, and black legs, $50. If I tapped on that white label, it would actually take me to the product page to purchase it itself. And then on the right, you'll see the Instagram story product tag. That's one of the ones that's just been released in the last month or so. That's also a gift card tag. So if I clicked on that, it would bring up a page where I could scroll products or I could purchase a gift card. So there are a lot of new tools that these platforms are rolling out, specifically Facebook and Instagram, to help business owners adapt to this new kind of digital world that we're living in, especially in these times where people aren't going to stores as much. So at this point, that is all that we have. We are going to open it up to any questions that you guys may have, and either Kim or I will do our best to answer any of them. So I will open it up now to Q&A.
Remember, attendees, you can ask questions using that tab at the bottom there.
We did have one question that came in about email marketing and how you ensure your emails are going to the inbox rather than a spam or junk folder.
Yeah, there's a few different things you can make sure that you're doing. Make sure you keep your headline short, and try not to use like exclamation points or anything like that. Keep it short, keep it concise. Make sure it describes what's happening without going into too much detail. Try to make sure you're using plain text as well as a couple of different images. And just try to make sure you're keeping your emails informative, not super sales focused. And again, make sure, you know, there's a lot of weight to be put in the subject line of an email. So just make sure you're being very concise, not being spam-like with the subject line, and being, you know, kind of to the point in the email. Don't make it a 500-word email. Make it a 3 or 4 sentence email. Try to follow kind of some of the similar best practices as social.
And some of the other things that I would recommend too is making sure that your list is an opt-in list. So if people,
Yes.
if you're sending emails out, make sure that they're people who actually want to hear from you and that you don't have a lot of old or expired email addresses on that email list. And then the other thing is just paying attention to the amount of text versus images that you have in the email. Like Joe said, keeping it.
We want to see her, Kim. Come on.
1 second.
Joe, I've got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Shopify and what was that other platform you mentioned? Something with O's in it or something?
Yeah, WooCommerce. So that's a popular WordPress plugin.
Okay.
Shopify, you can actually set up the store and host it on Shopify's website. They actually are a web host as well.
Okay.
So they offer options to actually set up a store, and they actually have inventory management systems and a whole back-end dashboard. Shopify is what I would recommend. It's very, very easy, very user intuitive. WooCommerce is going to be a little bit more involved. You'll probably have to get a developer involved, and is a little bit harder to integrate to a website, but it's definitely possible, and it's very popular with WordPress sites.
Okay.
I do see a question here that says, how hard is it to set up a social media store? The hard part is not necessarily setting up the social media store. The hard part is setting up the digital storefront first, and making sure that everything is optimized there and set up the way that you want it. Once that is set up, and assuming you use a platform that is able to be integrated with Facebook, Integrating that and getting that set up is very straightforward. It's a little labor intensive. You have to kind of go in and adjust products and make sure they adhere to some of Facebook's standards. But in terms of the process itself, it's fairly straightforward and simple once it's set up on your store, on your website or on Shopify or something like that. And then I just see another question that says, what about Wix for a store platform? I do not personally have a whole lot of experience with Wix, Squarespace, anything like that. Again, I would highly recommend Shopify because they offer inventory management, dashboards. There's a lot of plugins, a lot of tools. They integrate really well with email marketing platforms. It integrates really easily with Facebook. I believe the integration with Facebook is a one-click plugin. So I would highly recommend those. Wix, they have a good reputation. I just don't know a whole lot about the inventory management side of things. And I know that's where a lot of businesses can get in trouble when they sell online, is not having an automatically updated inventory. So I would definitely recommend Shopify. Or if you're more experienced in WordPress in your website, WooCommerce is a very good one too.
And those ones, Joe, they can plug in with an in-store POS, correct?
Yes, yeah. There's you would have to check your specific point of sale system, but Shopify integrates with a lot of already existing POS systems. So, and that's usually, again, a one-click type integration. So,
Joe, a quick question from me regarding Shopify. So I think there's like a free option, but then a number of paid options. What's your opinion? Is it how much should you be thinking about paying for Shopify?
Yeah, so without having the plans right in front of me, I know that a lot of the times the plans are based on sales volume. So you would just have to figure out where you fall within your sales volume and how many sales will be processed within the Shopify platform. I believe the free version is only for a limited time, and it also doesn't allow you to have a custom domain. So for example, it would be smartsolutions.shopify.us.com or something. So you would want to get a paid version. It's not super expensive. It's usually $19 to $30 for the lower end tiers. But again, it's based on sales volume. So as you would need to go up in tiers, if you do need to go up in tiers, it's a good problem to have because it means you're selling more. So I would definitely recommend one of their paid options. Yeah, where you go in terms of the tier would be strictly based on sales volume.
Got it.
And there are credit card processing fees in Shopify, just like any credit card transaction. I believe those go down slightly by a 0.1 or 0.2 of a percentage, depending on what that sales volume is too.
Yes, yeah, and it's I believe they use Stripe, which a lot of businesses probably already use, and I also believe they do have a Square integration. So you're gonna run into those fees kind of whichever way you go with it.
And Joe, if you're not using Stripe currently, does Shopify set that up for you?
Yes, there is a way in the platform itself to set up your account with Stripe. I actually believe you don't even have to leave the Shopify website. You sign up there and it creates your Stripe account for you. Because you will obviously have a bank account tied to Shopify to not only pay for the platform itself, but you also for any shipping costs or anything like that. So you're able to set it up directly in the platform.
Got it.
Square is different. Square, if you're going to integrate Square, I believe you have to have a pre-existing Square account and you have to have a plugin, and then you'd have to kind of merge them together. It's a little more complicated. But Stripe is I believe Stripe is actually owned by Shopify. So it's a very easy integration.
Okay. All right, attendees, remember, if you have any questions, you've got the expert on the line at the moment. You can fire away.
And I will go ahead, we'll just take a few more minutes to make sure nobody else has any questions, but we'll go ahead and go to the next slide here. And we do have a bunch of resources on our website. If you go to smartsolutions.media/learn, or just go to smartsolutions-media and click on the Learn tab. We have a lot of different resources. One in particular, we have a social media image cheat sheet that tells you exactly, the pixel ratio that you should be using for all of your social images, no matter the platform. we've got a lot of different, blogs on social media advertising and email marketing and things like that. So make sure you write this down. Feel free to give us a visit at smartsolutions.media. And we've got a bunch of helpful resources there for you. So if nobody else has any more questions, I will go ahead and thank you guys for taking the time to listen to me ramble and pass it on back to Kim.
Thank you, Joe. That was really good. Thanks everyone for your understanding with my 5-year-old cameo. So yeah, we are really excited that we've got some special exclusive offers, and pricing packages available for NCA members. You can get a free 1-hour consultation with us. We'll sit down and walk through your website and answer any questions that you have. And then we can put together a proposal for you. Anything from, you just need a little bit of help all the way through. You want us to do stuff for you. So my email there is kbaker@smartsolutions.media. You can also access it on that link that Joe shared earlier. And then my direct line is there as well, 616-520-2135. Again, it's a free 1-hour consultation. You're not required to do anything other than spend an hour on the phone with either Joe or myself or both of us, depending on what you're looking for. Thanks again.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Attendees, thank you for your attendance and for your listening. And Joe and Kim, thank you so much for this information today. It was truly valuable information, and we are honored to have your expertise available to us. And attendees, I highly recommend that you take advantage of Kim's offer for an hour of free consultation. It's unbeatable value there. So thank you, everybody, again. As I mentioned, this event has been recorded, and it will be posted either later today or tomorrow, and you can watch it on the website. Thank you, everyone. This ends today's webinar.
Thanks so much,
everyone.